Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Kasaysayan na ang naging saksi na hindi adlang ang edad, estado sa buhay o maging ang kasarian sa pagiging isang epektibong leader.
I think gender should never be a factor in whether or not a person can be a great leader.
There's no gender in leadership. If you understand the morals and if you exhibit encouragement, you can be a leader.
Dahil ang pagiging isang epektibong leader, ano man ang iyong kasarian, babae ka man, ay nakabatay sa kung paano mo kayang manindigan sa karapatan at kapakanan ng iyong nasasakupan.
You're a woman, not just a woman.
Hey dears! From our early generation of heroines such as Melchora Aquino, mother of Katipunan, to Josefa Illanes Escoda, the one who founded the Girl Scout of the Philippines, to our modern-day Filipina like Leni Robredo, the second female vice president of the Philippines, who is now leading the e-Consulta, a free teleconsultation services for possible COVID patients. Imagine what a single woman can do to make a difference. With that, we will try to change, if not, remove the norm of women having such limitations. Chance na rin natin ito to raise our standards at shout #Women Empowerment. Kaya naman, for tonight's episode, we will find out how this particular woman conquer her battles and face the world fearlessly. The she of today's diaries. I'm your host, Kai Chavez, and this is Her Diaries. Bakas pa rin sa ating mga kababayan ang pagkakaroon ng hindi pantay na pagtingin sa pagitan ng kalalakihan at kababaihan. Karapat-dapat bang maging leader ang isang babae? Sit down and relax as we open Miss Mitzi Jonel's diary.
Hello there. I am Mitzi Jonel Tan from Manila, Philippines.
Si Mitzi ay isang 22-year-old student leader, convener, and international spokesperson of Youth Advocates for Climate Action Philippines o YACAP. Ever since she was little, malapit na si Mitzi sa usaping pangkalikasan. Sa katunayan, 6 na taong gulang pa lamang ay marunong na itong manita sa mga kakilala nitong naninigarilyo dahil sa usok na dulot nito. 2017 nang magkaroon siya ng pagkakataon na makausap ang isang leader ng isang lumad indigenous group na nagpamulat sa kanya sa kalagayan ng mga ito. Dito niya napagtanto na malaki ang may tutulong ng collective action sa pag-address ng mga issue. Kaya naman, she decided to become a climate justice activist. Hindi naging madali ang takbo ng kanyang paglaban para sa kalikasan. There were times na nakakatanggap pa siya ng discrimination, death threats at natawag na terorista. Ngunit hindi ito naging hadlang para magpatuloy sa kanyang nasimulang laban. Ang convener and international spokesperson ng Youth Advocates for Climate Action Philippines or YACAP and the Fridays for Future. Please welcome Miss Mitzi Jonel Tan. Good evening, Miss Mitzi. Can you hear me po?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Miss Mitzi, personally, I am really curious because like yourself, I also want to fight for climate change. So, and being a leader as well, you inspire me. So, my question po, what have you discovered yourself when it comes to leadership?
I think what I've discovered about myself or what I've learned along the way with leadership is that it's really not about you or like about me. It's so much about decentering yourself and focusing your energies and efforts on other people and how to amplify other people. I think the goal of a leader is to make themselves replaceable. Na hindi sila kailangan na magstay doon. Because if your group is so dependent on you, then you're not building a collective movement, you're just building yourself up. And to be a leader is to build a collective movement.
Wow, ang ganda nun. Being a good leader means that you can be replaceable. Wow, it's such an inspiring, an empowering line. First question pa lang, what a beautiful. Thank you po. Question number 2, what inspires you to do what you're doing right now?
I was able to talk to an indigenous leader, a Lumad indigenous leader of our land in 2017. Thus, he was telling us about how they were being harassed and displaced and killed and militarized. Tapos, ever so simply, after niya kinuwento lahat ng like sobrang hirap na nangyayari sa kanila, sabi niya, that's why we have no choice but to fight back. And then I realized, in Filipino syempre, I realized it's that simple. Like, some people have no choice but to become activists kasi the consequences are worse. So ano yung excuse ko as someone who has that privilege to choose, quote unquote, choose to be an activist, to not join their fight? And then I also realized now we have always been experiencing the impacts of the climate crisis. We also don't have a choice at this point but to be climate activists.
Thank you for that. If you as a leader, what piece of you would you like to give to the younger people to have that movement, to have that better society for the next generation?
Don't be afraid to ask questions and don't be afraid to make mistakes. So parang sobrang cliche siya, no? But it's also being thirsty for that knowledge. It's like being able to look for that education and empower yourself with knowledge, not just in traditional climate science and yung papers, but also the education that comes from people, that comes from the streets, that comes from talking to people who have experiences outside of your own. And then the part where you're not afraid of making mistakes is about being able to be critical of yourself and always thinking, yung ginagawa ko ba, nakatulong ba siya sa pag-dismantle ng systems of oppression and injustice, or is it adding to that narrative?
I'm in awe in all the words that you're just spurting out just right now. Since you've just been sharing and giving us such words of wisdom, what will be the phrase or the line that you want us to leave, to remind, and to say to all our viewers right now?
So we have to remember that climate justice is social justice. So that means hindi lang environmental issue, hindi lang science topic yung climate crisis or yung climate change. It's something that impacts people and it's a systems problem. It's a problem that's been rooted in colonialism and the profit-oriented system that we have today. So in order to achieve climate justice, we have to get rid of the system that brought it.
Thank you, Miss Missy, for sharing your words of wisdom, your story, and for enlightening us on your wonderful way of living. Thank you po. Thank you so much. We heard how Mitzi conquered the giants of her generation, including fighting for her political stand on issues, particularly on climate change. Kaya naman, here's a shirt from Hey Hershey collection that was designed for all women warriors. And for saying yes for the challenges being faced as a woman, we hope for the future success of your future fights, Mitzi. Tips a minute to the rescue para sa ating weekly tips and advice. And this time, Her Diaries is offering you a fantastic ride towards building your confidence to being empowered and to empower other women as well. Confidence is the necessary spark before everything follows. Sabi ng educator and activist na si Brittany Packett sa kanyang inspiring talk at TED. Kaya naman, here are 3 things that you need in order to build your confidence. Number 1, permission. Permission births confidence. When someone allows you to do the things that you can, yung mga talentong meron ka, your confidence starts there. Kaya naman, let us all learn how to give chances to others na kaya rin nilang mag-excel sa iba't ibang bagay. Number 2, community. Community nurtures it. Community is the safest place to build and try one's confidence. Kaya naman, let us all believe and support our fellow women at ang kanilang mga kakayahan. Number 3, curiosity. Curiosity affirms it. We should avoid doing things that will lessen one's confidence. Instead of criticizing her, allow her to learn from her mistakes and allow her to learn from it. Permission, community, and curiosity. These are the 3 things that we need in order to build our confidence. Till the next episode of Tips in a Minute, see you as we unfold another Tips for a Minute. Being a woman in this generation has a lot of consequences and struggles, but we hope, just like Mitzi, you will be able to find your own voice. Para kay Mitzi at sa lahat ng kababaihan sa buong mundo, don't let anyone tell you that you are not capable, because just like the saying goes, babae ka, hindi babae lang. Again, this is Sky. Join me again next week for more inspiring women and their empowering stories. Only here on Her Diaries.